This was my journey, and I was inviting you guys along. So 2021, I'm choosing me on purpose. I made a decision, and so everything I do will be on purpose now. It's not by chance that I chose myself. No, I'm choosing me on purpose this year in 2021. And so that's the attitude that you have to have. Number two, say no. Learn how to say no. Once you say no the first time, it'll get a little easier the second time to say no. Ask Brother Travis. I think Brother Travis is on to something. I think he got it. It is so freeing and so refreshing, and it keeps you from being bound because you say yes so much you don't even have time for yourself. So that's out of here in 2021. Number three, don't give a list of excuses. Not explaining anymore in 2021. This is the decision that I made. This is what works for me and what's best for me. Now, I pray that you understand it, but if you don't, I'm sorry. I'm not explaining it. I'm not telling you why I'm choosing not to do this or choosing not to do that or why I'm doing something. Just not explaining it. I have been the most explaining person. I give so much information of explanation. I've done that to myself. I'm telling you, a lot of things that have gone wrong in your life or a lot of things that you make yourself miserable about is because you don't know how to say no, or it's because you start explaining stuff that you don't even have to explain. You don't have to explain that. Not in 2021. That's dead. That's over. Number four, start small. Everything learned and every time you're successful, it's a process. Everything comes through a process. So make sure that you start small. And that's why I said with this, yes, I could, I could go 21 days. We do 21-day journeys all the time, but this is lifetime. This is a lifestyle that we're creating. And so we have to make sure that we're serious about this commitment that we're making. We're serious about this decision that we're making. And so, we're going to take a break on Saturday and Sunday, refresh a little bit, because you're not going to get it all right in one instance. Look at how long you've been doing this. So, but now we get to do the self-check. So when you find yourself people pleasing, or when you find yourself saying yes to everything, back up and say, whoa, wait a minute. That's not what I'm doing in 2021. And so now we have to learn how to self-check. So what we're going to do, we're going to take those 2 days off, and then we're going to put some stuff into practice. You're going to practice everything that we've gone over this week. Okay? The fifth thing, don't apologize. It's not your fault. We apologize for other people's craziness. We apologize for other people's situations. Like somebody could ask you to do something at the very last minute, and then we apologize when we can't do it. Why are you apologizing? It's not your fault that they created a crisis for themselves, and now they expect you to be the fireman to put it out. That's not your fault. Stop apologizing for that. I'm not going to apologize because you are a procrastinator, or I'm not going to apologize because of things other people are doing that's not my fault, but then I feel bad when I can't make it happen. No, I'm not. Why am I beating myself up? Don't stop doing that to yourself. It's not your fault. So that's out the window in 2021. Okay? So those are your tools, and that's in your printable sheets. So make sure that you're remembering those tools, because those are some things that you need to meditate on those and get them in your spirit on the inside, so that you can definitely practice those things. Every situation that you're faced with, you need to pause for a moment and say, wait a minute, now I got a choice in this. And I'm choosing me. So when I choose me in the situation, I now have to choose what works best for me. If it's not working for me, it's out of here. Now, day 3, what we're talking about is we're no longer going to be living in the past. The past is over. It's gone. It's not coming back. It's gone. It's not. Yesterday is gone. Yesterday is not coming back. So stop living in the past. A lot of times We will live off of a memory. Let me just lean in here a little bit and talk to you real nice and sweet. Stop living off of memories. Memories are great. Moments are absolutely fantastic. But you cannot live your life off of a memory. And I'm going to explain that a little bit more. Some areas that we live in the past in is our relationships. We live in the past on our jobs. We live in the past with churches, all kinds of things. You ever heard people say, well, you're dating somebody and say, well, my old boyfriend used to open the door for me. Or my old boyfriend, he used to always fill my car up with gas. Or just craziness, right? That was, hi, Isaiah, welcome. Yeah, stop doing that. You're in a whole new relationship now. It is unfair to the next person to live in the past. Stop doing that. Stop it. Cut it out in 2021. Your old job. You on the new job. Now listen, every job I've ever been on, I've taken something from the old job. But I'm trying to learn the new job. And if it's something that's going to help me, I can put it in place. But I'm not going to be around there saying, well, you know, I'm not going to go into a new job trying to change their system because this is the way I did it at my old job. Cut it out. Stop it. We don't know how to evolve. We don't know how to change. We don't know how to get over the past. The past is the past. Leave it in the past. Churches, that's another big thing. We'll go to one church and we'll say, well, you know, that's how I did it at my old church. Well, if it was working for you at the old church, why are you not at the old church? I've never understood that. How people will say, you know, well, this is how we did it over here. Well, why are you not there no more? Cut it out. Stop it in 2021. Stop it. That's a mindset. Our minds are not renewed and we keep doing the same old junk and stuff because we don't want to open ourselves up to a new experience. And all it is rooted in fear. Period. So now tonight, you know, I'm just going to get real close to this camera and I'm going to talk to you real good tonight because the further along we go, the deeper it's going to get. So, you got to ask yourself, when I keep holding on to this old stuff, is it helping me or is it hindering me? Is it helping me or is it hindering me? Me holding on to this old mindset, this old way of thinking, is it helping me or is it hindering me? Because most of the time when you move into a new situation, when you're in the new situation, the new people don't want to hear nothing about the old. And so you think you changing them. You're not going to change them. They've evolved and they've moved further on. So you can't keep trying to bring the old into somebody else's new. It's not going to work. And for me, I'm a person like this. My mind is like constantly doing this, right? I'm constantly thinking about new ideas, new ways. And so because I am that way, I get extremely frustrated with old ways of thinking and old ideas. I do, because I'm constantly on to the next. Think about it like this. How many of you guys remember your old phone you had when you used to dial it? The rotary phones. Y'all remember that? Well, how you look now, somebody come to visit you, you don't have no cell phone, you don't have no new answering machine or none of that. You just still there trying to dial. They probably don't even do the rotary thing no more. And you still trying to dial that old phone. Stop it. You need to open up your mind, expand yourself. I have a lot of great memories. I do. I've experienced a lot of great things in life. Even with my husband now, why do you think that you see us doing different things and new things? Why? Because it's new to us now. So now we're creating new things. I wish he would take me somewhere where he done jumped off a building with some other chick. No. I'm trying to tell you, you have to create new things. You know, let's go to a new restaurant. Let's do something new. Open up your mind. Now, don't hear what I'm not saying, because there are absolutely some great experiences that I've had that I wouldn't mind going back to, right? Like Florida. I love Florida. I could go to Florida, but I could have a new experience in Florida. I don't have to do the same old thing. Why? Because I'm living in the moment. I'm not living in a memory. And that's what we keep doing. And that's what keeps us stuck. We keep wanting to um, be in a whole new year, living off of a whole old memory. Why do you think seasons change? There's a reason for that. So we have to change the way we think. And a lot of it is because um, let me say this. If your past causes you to be upset, if your past causes you to be depressed, if your past causes you to be angry, it is not serving you in a positive way. So get out of it. Move away from it. If it's not serving you in a positive way, why do you continue to dwell on the past that's gone? It's over. It's a wrap. That's why I give everything to whatever I'm in at the moment. Because once I'm done with it, I never look back. I'm not looking back anymore. I'm done with it. I've given all I could give. That's why I said, and y'all may think I'm playing, I gave everything I had in 2020. I had nothing else to give. Absolutely nothing. I knew beyond a shadow of a doubt I could not live my life going forward the way I did in 2020. I gave it all in 2020. So I had to change to survive. A lot of us are dying slowly. We're dying slowly because we keep living in the past and we refuse to move forward. You know what it is? It's a lack of self-love. It's low self-esteem. You're unaware of what's going on around you, and you fear. The core reasons really those are really the core reasons why we stay stuck. And so we got to do better in 2021. We just have to do better. And I'm going to come back to this, but let's talk about this for a second. I thought about it this way. Living in the past is like being incarcerated without a cell. I'm going to say that again. Living in the past is like being incarcerated without a cell. What does that mean? Why am I saying that? Because you're locked up in your mind, but you're free. You have a free choice. You have a free choice. But you're still stuck in the past. I had an opportunity to speak with a young man who, well, not really a young man now because he's older, that was incarcerated, right? Been in jail for 20 some years. Now he's still stuck. Everything he talks about is from when he first went in jail. Do you know the world has changed? Do you know what's going on in the world now? You can't have been locked up. And that's what happens to us. We get locked up in our minds and we refuse to change. And we keep trying to force this old system into a new way of living, and we want different results, and it's just not going to happen. It's not going to happen. You've got to change the way you're thinking. So some of us, like I said, it's like being incarcerated without a cell. You're sitting there, the guard has taken the lock off the cell. You can walk out at any moment you want to, but you won't do it because all you know is the cell. All you know is the old way you've been doing it. You don't know any other way. Why? Because you won't open yourself up to do something different. I never knew. I used to look at sushi and be like, who in the world is eating sushi? Ugh, y'all eating that mess? That's what I used to say all the time. But then I got around somebody who loves sushi. And I said, well, let me just give it a try. And now I'm like a sushi eater, right? I would have never did that, but it took me getting out of my old way of thinking and opening my mind up to something new, to something different. We have to be, you will go through this life and you will miss some of the finest, greatest experiences because you won't change, because you keep doing it the old way. And this is a wonderful life that God has given us. I don't understand why he tells us he's come that we may live an abundant life, and we still want to keep living beneath and not experience anything because we won't try anything. To get out of the past, you're going to have to go through a period where you feel everything about your past. That has to be the first thing. You have to feel everything about the past. That's all of the raw emotions, all the hurt, all of that. You got to bring it up to the surface temporarily so that you can deal with it. Because if you don't, you're just going to bury it, and you're going to keep, and it's going to be up under some layers. And we're not doing layers and cycles in 2021. That's dead. We're not doing that no more. So you're going to have to say, well, what is it about my past that's keeping me stuck? What haven't I dealt with? What am I not in touch with? How can I get past it? You're going to have to deal with it. You know, and a lot of us, I'll say this, and I'm not even going to try to stick to, I'm just going to grab some nuggets and talk about it. I'll never forget a situation I was in, and the person called me and said they wanted to meet me. And this was probably about, I would say like 5 years ago, right? Wanted to meet me for closure. For closure. For me, it was closed in. And we trick ourselves and we play these mind games with ourselves. You really don't want to. It's not for closure, people. It's not. It's because it's something you ain't said that you wanted to get off your chest. You don't need any closure. You don't need that type of closure. You ever seen people that say, well, let's just get together one more time? For what? That's opening. That's reopening it. That's not closing it. You really don't want to close it. Can I just see you one last time? Can we just go out one last time? Can we just do it one last time? No, you cannot. It's over. It's done. It's a wrap. How are you going to move forward and you keep opening that door? You're not going to do it. You're not. And you're tricking yourself and you're playing games with yourself, and then you wonder why you're in bondage because you keep doing it. You're doing it to yourself. I'm sorry, but that's what it is. You was at an old job, now you keep going to the old job. What y'all doing? What's going on? You can't even focus on the new job because you learn about what they. Yes, I created relationships on old jobs, and those people are still I consider to be friends and associates, and I do talk from time to time, but I'm not tied to an old situation. I'm not. So we have to learn how to do that. But you got to feel all those emotions. If you have to cry, if you have to bite a pillow, if you have to go outside and scream till all of the 7 cities can hear you, you have to do what you have to do so that you can feel all of that. A lot of people think that we're not supposed to, we talk about feelings and everything, and we're not supposed to feel. Yes, you are absolutely, you need to feel all of those things. You have to feel those things, but don't be moved by how you feel. Your feelings ain't got nothing to do with it, but you do need to experience those emotions, because if you don't, you're just going to bury them, and then they're going to haunt you, and you're never going to be able to move forward. Don't wait for an apology. That's not just in relationships. That's on jobs. That's in friendships. That's in all that. I'm talking about life now. A lot of us will you'll stay stuck. You'll stay mad because you're waiting for somebody to apologize to you about something they don't even know that they did to you. They may not even know. And you're thinking, well, they should know. This is what changed for me. I don't think for anybody anymore. I used to hold stuff in, believing that, well, they just ought to know how I'm feeling. They got they got their life and they doing other things. So now I'm gonna tell you exactly how I'm feeling. I'm not mad. I'm not upset, but you gonna know how I feel, and then I'm done with it. I'm not holding any grudges. I'm not angry or anything, but I'm going to let you know how I feel so that it's not clogging up my system. So I'm going to let it go because I'm moving forward. So I'll say what I got to say and then I'm done with it. Yeah, I'm done with it. I'm not mad or anything like that, but it's something that I need to release because if I hold it, it's going to make me sick. And then I'm going to get frustrated when you don't ever address it because I'm thinking you should know how I'm feeling. Stop doing that to yourself. You're going to stay stuck and you're not going to be able to move forward. Expand your view of yourself. Expand your view of yourself. That goes back to being afraid to try new things. You know, well, you only saw yourself driving an automatic car. Drive a stick shift. There was a time when I never would have thought that I could drive a stick shift, but boy, when I got a stick shift, I would prefer a stick shift. But I would have never known that had I not opened myself up to that. So expand your view of yourself. Stop thinking that, well, this is I only wear red shirts. Put on a green one. You might look good in green. You know, you have to be willing to try something else. But we don't do that. Because we have this view of ourselves that's in this small little box. Get out the box in 2021. So, you know, some of us, well, I would never do that. Why not? It's available to you. Why not try it? I would never ride a horse. I would never go swimming. I'm not doing that. I'm not doing this. Some of the things that I have experienced was a lot of things that I said I would never do and have been the greatest experiences in my life. You need to expand your view of yourself. Try something new. Learn how to live in the moment and enjoy the present moment you're in now. Because if you don't learn how to live in the moment, you're going to live in a memory and you're going to keep basing every new moment on an old memory. And you just can't live like that. You're not going to be able to live like that if you just keep living your life in memories and not living your life in the moment. Enjoy the moment. A lot of times we'll be in a situation we can't even enjoy it because we're thinking about what's going to happen after the moment is over. And we spend all this time in our head and we never ever get to enjoy the moment. Living in the past will cause you to lose sight of the present and prevent you from building a happy future. It does, because you'll spend so much time thinking about the past and you'll never ever be able to build a happy future because you're still trying to put bricks on the past. And the past is gone and you're wondering why you're still not happy. You're wondering why you're still frustrated. It's because you keep looking back and you keep sitting in the past of what is gone. It's over. It's over. Let it go. I promise you, once you let it go, and I know you're sitting in there and you're saying, well, you don't understand. You just don't understand. Psh, like, I got a t-shirt for all of that. I understand. I feel your pain, but I'm telling you how to free yourself. And once you free yourself, it is the most beautiful thing you could ever do. It is the gift of life you give to yourself. It is. It's so refreshing. It is so refreshing to get out of the past and live for tomorrow. Live in the moment. Yeah, live in the moment. Living in the past will cause you to borrow time from yourself. When you continue to live on old hurts, old wounds, old ideas, you're not doing anything but borrowing precious time from yourself. What do you mean I'm borrowing time for myself? That's time you could have been enjoying something, having a great experience. You keep living in the past. You keep revisiting the past. Listen, 911, what did 911 teach us? Everything changed after 911. The airports, security, the way we do things. Why? Because the world is ever changing. But we don't. We want to stay stuck in old ways, old ideas, old habits. Look at us now. We're in a virtual world. Stop thinking about, embrace where we are now, because if you continue to think about how it used to be before COVID came and we had to change. It forced us to change. So get your mind off of, well, when are we going to get back? Yes, when are we going to get, there is no getting back to that way of living anymore. If you think you're going to go back living the way you were before COVID, because now, why? Now we've, subconsciously now we're going to be more careful now with washing our hands and doing all kinds of things. But if you don't change your mind, and if you were one of the people who, oh, this ain't nothing, and you haven't changed with the times, and you're not washing your hands and you're not doing those things, then you're going to stay stuck in the past and you're going to get caught because the world is changing. You have to be more aware now of what's going on. And so if you look at even what happened at the Capitol, we have to be aware of the time and the moment that we're in now. And we don't have a lot of time to be holding grudges, to be dealing with all of this stuff that's unnecessary and thinking about all these things. We need to be enjoying life right now. There's somebody, and I know that's always been happening, but there are more people dying every day now than ever before. But you are still promised an abundant life. So don't miss out on what God has for you simply because you don't want to expand your view of yourself. Okay? People don't live in the past for no reason. So now let's talk about that. Yeah, we don't live in the past for no reason. So let's get to the root, and let's bring it to the forefront of what is it that keeps us stuck in the past. See, you got to be true to yourself. I got to be true to Rhonda before I even come and try to tell the truth to you. I got to be true to myself. What is it that's robbing me of my future and keeping me stuck in the past? What is it? For me, it was fear. It was fear of what people would say if I did something different. It was fear of, how people would receive me, what people would think about me if I tried something else. They're going to think I'm changing. It was fear. It was all of that. But I had to let it go. I had to say to myself, I choose you, Rhonda. I'm choosing you this year. And so I'm going to be good to myself, even if nobody understands it. Because I can't stay stuck. The world is changing. And I'm going to, it's like we have stages in life, right? Well, when you don't expand your view of yourself and when you don't want to change, what you look like is a big old gigantic person walking around with a rattle in your hand, a pacifier in your mouth, and a diaper on your butt. That's really what you look like, if I could make it plain. That's what you look like, because you're not growing. You're not all you're doing is getting bigger, but you're not growing in your mind because your mind isn't changing. Because if your mind was changing, you could look at your big self and know that you needed to take that diaper off and go to the toilet somewhere and put some clothes on. So your mind isn't changing. You're getting bigger. We're getting older, but are we changing in our mind? We're not changing in our mind. We want to keep doing the same thing over and over and over and over, and we expect a different result, and it's not going to happen. Stop playing the victim. Okay? Cut it out in 2021. I get so tired, and don't hear what I'm not saying. Don't y'all write me no nasty letters or start inboxing me or nothing like that. Because here's the deal. I understand it because my heart and passion is for broken daughters, right? But when God gave me broken daughters, it was to pour into women to let them know that you didn't have to stay broken, right? Because, and you know, a lot of people always say, well, broken crayons still color. They do still color, but I promise you the picture ain't gonna look the same. With a broken crayon, it's not. Because guess what? The broken crayon, it has all of those rough edges. Yeah, they still color. they still will make a picture blue, but you won't get that smooth look that you get from a brand new whole crayon. And I don't care what you say about that, it just ain't gonna happen. A broken crayon, yeah. Can the broken crayon create a picture? Absolutely. Can the picture be beautiful? Absolutely. So don't hear what I'm not saying. But what I'm saying is we want to use that when we want to play victim and stay broken. That's an attention getter. Some people think the more broken they are, the more attention they can get. Cut it out. Listen, I done had some heartaches and I done had some hard time, but god doggone, I am not broken. I am not. I am whole. I'm not Rodney Driver's better half. I am whole. In Jesus' name. I'm not half for nothing. We think that sound good. Oh, I'm his better half. No, I'm not half for nothing. When you get me, you get the whole package. I'm not half. And so we have these half mindsets and all of this brokenness. Cut it out. He's come to heal the brokenhearted. So now if he's come to heal the brokenhearted, does that mean that now I got a half broken heart? It don't sound right. But see, we want to play victim because it sounds good and people get to say, oh, I'm sorry you had such a rough time. And shoot, everybody going through something. Everybody doesn't have rough times. You're not the only one that's done had a rough time. There's a scripture that says there's no situation that's common to man that God has not already made a way of escape. That scripture in 1 Corinthians, I believe it's in. So it's no situation that's not common to man. That means somebody else had already done went through it and got over it. So you're not the only one. And I know that sounds hard and that may sound a little rough, but that's just something I had to come in touch with myself. Rhonda, you ain't the only one. I used to always say, no, y'all just don't understand. Y'all just don't understand what I'm going through. As if my situation was so much more worse than somebody else's. And don't hear what I'm not saying. A lot of us go through rough things. Some more than others. So don't hear what I'm not saying. But I'm saying somebody else has gone through that same thing, or somebody else has gone through something worse and they've gotten over it. So you can get over it too. It's a decision. You got to will yourself past some stuff. You can't stay stuck, waiting for it to get better or waiting for somebody to come along and make it better. Because what if nobody else ever comes along? You got to make it better for yourself. It's about survival. A lot of things I do is about survival for me. It just is. So stop that. Stop that. We have testimonies that we could set somebody free if we would just see a lot of stuff that I'm telling y'all, like me telling y'all I got evicted. And like I got some stories I could tell y'all that could set you free when you thinking about some things that I'm not going to hold on to that just because woe is me and I went through this rough time in my life. No, I want somebody to know, look at me now. There was once upon a time, did y'all know that I didn't even have a car? I was catching rides for almost a year and a half. Probably more than that. But what I looked at in that God was showing me that he was with me and there was not a time I didn't get to work. There was not a time I didn't get anywhere that I had to go because God was with me. And I didn't even have a car for almost, I think it was 2 years. Then I had a car. The windows was taped up. But I kept on, even in that, I kept on. When I knew people were saying, look at her, she a minister, she riding around, or look at her, I had to go through all of that. So rough times, tough times, I got a t-shirt for it. But you know what? I kept the right attitude. I didn't blame God. I trusted God's love for me. And I'm telling you, you can get over anything. You can get past anything when you get a revelation of how much God loves you. I knew in the midst of me, and what I tell you about staying stuck in the past, when I got divorced, I walked away from what I thought was my dream house, right? But check this out. The day that we closed on that house, I stood in the middle of the living room in that very house, and I heard God say, this house can't contain your faith, right? I forgot about that. When I got divorced and walked away from the house, that house was almost 3,000 square feet. It was custom made, right? The day I walked into that 750 square foot apartment, and I walked in that bathroom and I could barely turn around, and I had walked away from a bathroom that I could do cartwheels in. And I said to myself, what have I done? And so all of that I had to go through, feeling shame and all of that. But in the midst of all of that, I remembered God's love for me. And I knew, I said, God, because what did I tell y'all yesterday? God loves you. He's not an Indian giver, and he's not going to go back on his word. Now, he don't love everything you do, every decision you make, and there's consequences for some decisions that you make. But because I trusted his love for me, I knew that wasn't the end. And so I spent all that time going into an apartment, got evicted, not having a car. And then just last year, but see, nobody ever, to look at me, everybody, I'm around here talking about winning. Nobody knew what I was going through. Nobody could. Why? Because I was keeping a good attitude as best I could. Those in my close circle, yeah, I could vent to them. But I kept the right attitude. And in just this past year, for my birthday, I knew I needed a car. I really had my mind set on I wanted a Ford Explorer, right? But look at what God did. And it ain't even about the car, but God always wants to do exceedingly and abundantly above all that you can dare ask or think. I never would have thought that I would go from not having a car to now driving a